Hi, this is Mark Wade from CenterCityCondos.com. In this short video, I'm going to review what's been happening on Rittenhouse Square in the over $1 million market for the first quarter of 2026. So if you have an open ear in just a minute or two, here we go. Okay, the first unit here, there have been 14 units since the beginning of the year, 2026, in the first quarter that have either gone under contract or have settled. I'd like to review a couple of those with you here. So the first one is this unit is pending. It may likely sold less than the asking price. It was on the market 271 days. It's at the Rittenhouse that faces Rittenhouse Square, which is really nice. The 1,671 square feet sold for under $1,025,000. Sat on the market 271 days. Generally, when we see this days on market this high, in the eyes of buyers, there's an incongruency in between interior condition and asking price, or size of the unit and asking price. At the end of the day, it's the asking price that most buyers would have viewed to be a little high. Otherwise, it would not have sat on the market for 271 days. Another unit that's pending here this is a great one, 2,608 square feet facing the square, very desirable floor plan, sold at 1.695 after 140 days. Okay, I think that was a pretty good deal. 2,600 square feet is substantial. It was a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Probably could have sold a little bit more, maybe if they had or perhaps faster, if it had been turned into a 3-bedroom. If it were a 3-bedroom as opposed to a 2, even though the square footage would have been the same. One more unit pending. This is on the second floor. This Park Rittenhouse. The second and third floor are the most have the biggest units. Those are like the estates, if you will, of Park. They're absolutely beautiful. This was 3,416 square feet, sold for 3.95. Sat on the market one day, over asking. Okay, so that was a very desirable property. This one's at the Lauren, 33rd floor. Decrease means it didn't sell for full price, 4.195 for 2,444 square feet. Included a parking space. Another one to Laurel. This is interesting. 4,652 square feet. Phenomenal. Just phenomenal for 8.392 million increase in price. Now, the increase in price on a new construction could have been that they bought an extra parking spot or two, or they had some kind of upgrades or deals or storage areas that the developer may have been offering there. 1830. I love this one. This one sold for $1 million. It did settle. This was 2 units. This was a C unit and a D unit, 12th floor, pushed together. Didn't face Rittenhouse Square, but it was it was a great unit. Sold for $1 million. This was a value. Now, some people would have suggested, my buyers who I took in here, I took a couple of different buyers, suggested that it needed some work. When they had taken out the wall, they breached the wall in between 2 units. The transition there, I believe, if I recall, was a little rough. The kitchen was a little bit dated, but still, for $1 million to be able to get 2,200 square feet inside 1830, that's under $500 a square foot. That's a phenomenal price. Yeah, I like that one. Back at the Rittenhouse again, 32nd floor, 1.695 for 2,589 square feet. Sat on the market 230 days. So what we're seeing so far this quarter at the Rittenhouse, that units are sitting on the market longer than normal. But when the price sitting on the market longer than normal, but when the price drops, they start to sell. Okay, so it could have been that these 3 sellers we've just looked at just were asking too much money to begin with. Here's another one at 1820 Rittenhouse. Now, this is a very quiet building. Very few people know about it. This is one of the very few units in the entire building. It's on the 18th floor. That was only 2,200 square feet. Most of these are significantly larger, like plus way over 3,000 square feet. The building's generally divided in half, the left side and the right side, and they go front to back. So, but this was a pretty good deal, 1.450. Sat on the market 97 days. Okay. Back at the Rittenhouse, this thing sat on the market 83 days, 2,000 square feet for 1.475. Again, what we're really seeing here at the Rittenhouse, and here's one more, the Rittenhouse is really moving this year. I mean, like clearing out. This was an O1 unit, which is 1,639 square feet, 26th floor, sold for 1.3. Okay. So what we're really seeing here is that interior condition on a building like the Rittenhouse that is 35 years old, something like that, 40 years old, the driving force of value is not, it's going to be floor height to a degree, and then whether or not you face the square. But the guiding light of value, if you will, is going to be interior condition. That's really what's going to drive that price, because we're going to see a really wide swing at the Rittenhouse in terms of dollar per square foot. Anywhere from $500 a square foot up to about $900 a square foot is what we're seeing here recently, and that's usually a function of interior square footage. Okay, back at Park Rittenhouse, 14th floor. This was 1.95 for 1,700 square feet. Very nice views. Love the floor to ceiling window here, looking out onto the square. Beautiful property. Really, really nice and beautifully done, fixed up on the inside. So 1,700 square feet, so 1.950. That's over $1,000 a square foot. So again, interior condition. If I can teach you anything today, it should be that interior condition really drives value here. Here's one more. This is almost sold for about $1,700 a square foot. 2,300 square feet, asking 3.8 at the Laurel again. Okay. There's another Laurel for $6 million, almost $2,000 a square feet for 3,622 square feet. Another Laurel for 8.6 million, almost 2,000 a square foot. The phenomenal. I mean, this is just like a old New York apartment from in the turn of the century, the 1900s. Just phenomenal space, 4,650 square feet on the 44th floor overlooking the square. It's quite a substantial piece. So there you go. There's your quick wrap up for the first quarter of 2026. Condos on the square, $1 million and over, 14 sales. I believe 9 of them were settled, 5 of them were under contract. Some pretty good values out there, really. And again, interior conditions going to play hugely into that value. And then second to that would be for first square footage, interior condition, and then whether it faced the square or not. Those are going to be really in descending order what determines value in $1 million condos on Rittenhouse Square. I'd love to chat with you further, really dig deep into some of these units. If you have a mind to, let's do a deep dive into values on Rittenhouse Square. And I can teach you a couple other things. This is Mark Wade, realtor at CenterCityCondos.com, Berkshire Hathaway, Fox & Roach. Thank you very much. Any questions? You know how to get a hold of me. Bye now.